قبل حدوث الأشياء، ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء تفرد بالأولية والقدم، ووسم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم، كما قال عز شأنه: كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت. وقال: كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنام سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: وجعلناهم أئمة يهدون بأمرنا وأوحينا إليهم فعل الخيرات وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وكانوا لنا عابدين. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Today is the birthday of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. Our fourth Imam. He was born on 15th of Jamad al-Ula, and according to some narrations, he was born on Sha'ban 5th. So he was the fourth legitimate Khalifa and Wasi and successor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you see the lifetime of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu salam, he took the office of Imamat, the responsibilities of Imamat, in the hardest time ever. Immediately after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu salam, he took that great responsibility of leadership of entire nation, entire ummah. And of course, according to our belief, he was appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his leadership was announced by Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So he was a divine leader and he was infallible to our belief. For a long time we are discussing a topic, human rights and the system of rights in Islam. This is, as you know, a book or a discourse presented by Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. In Islam, when you say something and you be a preacher, you need to first practice what you say. It is not enough. Sometimes the orator, since he has a good language, good skills of oratory, so he speaks and people appreciate him. He says, wow, what he said. And sometimes he has good advice for you. You like the advice. But does he or she practices what he or she says? This is very much important in Islam. لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Why you say something that you don't do? So first practice by yourself, then preach what you have practiced already. Originally, first you should believe in what you say, and you understand what you say, then you practice what you say, and then you preach what you say, preach what you practice. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam is the best example of a preacher with practice. Whatever he advised us in his Risalatul Huquq, the discourse on rights, and we are discussing this great book for a long time, he discussed all aspects of rights and responsibilities, but originally he had practiced them personally. So in his life, you see, all rights, you will find them to the peak. In the best way, he had practiced every single right in his life. We are discussing about helping people. He was the best person, best example for helping needy people. He would go in the night holding so much food, and he would go door to door, knock the door without the people knowing who is the person who is coming to help, and would give them food and leave. The people would not even know who is the person who is helping them. This was his sincerity. This was his work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. He was not doing this for show off. And this is what he practiced, and he is teaching us the same thing, what he is practicing. This is one of the examples. So many examples we see in his life. He is one of those great worshippers. I said one of those. Why? Because he is among as a family member in which everybody is in the peak of ibadah and worship. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, Rasulullah himself. For others, Islam says and Quran says you should go and pray and worship. Rasulullah would worship so much that Allah said, don't worship this much. It's going to make you tired. Don't be tired this much for prayers in the night. Allah is stopping him from doing so much. This is Rasulullah, his ibadat, his worship. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. Every night he would offer salat, and people would hear 1,000 takbir from him. 1,000 times Allahu Akbar he is saying in his standing position while he is in salat. In the days he would observe fasting. The same thing about Imam Hassan alayhi salam, and same Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The best sajda ever that has been done in the history was sajda of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He was worshipping Allah even under the knife of the killer and murderer Shimr. May Allah curse him. He was even doing the sajda and doing ibadat in such a situation. So who is better than him? In the time of battlefield, when the time for salat came, Imam alayhi salam, Imam stopped the war and stood up for salat congregation with his companions, while the arrows were still coming and the enemy was still attacking him. But he did not care about those attacks, about those arrows, and in that flowing arrows, Imam offered his salat. But Imam Sajjad alayhi salam is the one who has the title of Zainul Abidin, the ornament of worshippers. More than this, even more than this, he has the title of Sayyidus Sajidin. This is amazing. The leader of those who do sajda, who prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Leader. And he achieved these titles in such a family in which everybody is in the highest level of performance about ibadat and sajda and ruku and all those parts of worship that we do it. But he gained this title of Sayyidus Sajidin, the leader, the head of those who perform prostration and sajda. This is amazing. Why? Because he has done all this in such a situation that usually no one can do it. And little situations, we start making excuses to leave salat. Oh, I was so much busy in this work, in that work. I was not feeling good, so I missed my salat. We have little excuses for that. But Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he performed his sajda in what a situation? He was in sajda in a time when in Karbala the tents were set to fire. Everybody was killed, and he was alone with the children and orphans and the widows. And the whole night he was performing sajda. He placed his forehead in sajda in the night, and he raised his forehead from the sajda in the morning. In such a situation. And while he was taken captive, in that situation also he would perform all wajibat, not just wajibat, even mustahabbat. So this is why maybe he was called Sayyidus Sajidi. He has also the title of Sayyidus Sabirin. Again, remember, if you get a title in such a group who don't have that, that skill for which you have been given a title, this is not a big deal. But he is achieving the title of Sayyidus Sabirin, again the leader of those who demonstrate patience. Patience not easy. So those who practice patience, he is the leader of those people. So he is Sayyidul Sabirin in such a family in which everybody is in the peak of patience. Starting from Rasulullah, Imam Ali, Fatima Zahra, Salamullah alayhi, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. Look, the patience of all of these leaders. But Imam, when you say Sayyidus Sajidin, it is not referring to any of them. It is referring to this fourth Imam who was at the really peak of sabr. If you see, of course, you know the history, and it is easy to understand why he should be called the leader of patience one. He, not only this aspect, you see that after he took the responsibility of imamat and leadership, how hard time it was. People killed his father. His father. They were claiming to be Muslims. Just like today you see the people who claim to be Muslims and they are doing anything to harm Islam. Originally, when they kill someone in the name of Islam, they are not killing him. They are trying to kill Islam. They are trying to kill Islam. And this is what Yazid was trying to do. And he did. He killed his father. His father, the killers of his father were whom? The children of the companions of Rasulullah. Umar ibn Sa'ad. Who was Umar ibn Sa'ad? The leader of that army who killed Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqas, who is revered among Muslims as companion of Rasulullah. So the killer was the son of companion of the Prophet. And he knew who is Imam Hussein. all the killers knew who is Imam Hussein. He is grandson of Rasulullah, not grandson of Rasulullah, directly, originally son of Rasulullah according to Quran. Quran called him son of Rasulullah. Now think that how this can be possible, that the people who know that they are praying, they were praying. They were saying azan. In the adhan they were saying Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. They were bearing witness that Muhammad is Allah's messenger and is killing his own son and grandson. How this happened? So this shows that the society was so much corrupt that they did not even care about such a crime to commit, and they did commit that crime of killing of grandson of Rasulullah. Now, if you hear today these so-called Muslims, these terrorists that kill other Muslims or other people just because they don't agree with them. So this is the ideology of Yazid. This is the ideology of Muawiyah. This is that ideology. They are killing. But you might say that okay, they misinterpret Quranic ayat, or they didn't understand what Islam is, or they are misled by some people. How about those people who were there? Imam Hussein is in front of them and they know him. There is no excuse. Nobody can say, oh, I didn't recognize him. They knew him. Nobody say, oh, I was misled by anyone and I came to kill grandson of Rasulullah. No. Knowingly, they are killing Imam Hussein. See the society, where the society was. How can you call those people Muslim? When we cannot call these people Muslim today, these terrorists, how can you call those terrorists Muslim? So, in such a situation, in such a society, Imam Zain al-Abidin is taking the office of Imamat. Remember, this was the hardest time. When I said it was the hardest time, not just because he was suffering from those situations, of course, the very hard situation. But no, hard in this sense. As a leader, who should he talk to? Who should he preach to? Who? He is son of Imam Hussein. He is son of grandson of Imam Rasulullah. The people who kill grandson of Rasulullah, who is going to listen to him? Such people. So see in what conditions and circumstances Imam Sajjad started his work as Imam. So that's why I said, in all 12 Imams, if you compare the situations, every Imam had so much hardship, so much obstacles, so many enemies of Islam were trying to stop every Imam from preaching the truth and true Islam. But hardest time was the time of Imam Sajjad. And he spent 35 years in such a society when Islam was almost dead. Muslims were no Muslims anymore. The killers of Imam Hussein, how can be Muslims? But Imam Sajjad, he started his work in a unique way. Very unique. Silently. You see the khutbahs of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Ali has khutbah. Khutbah means sermon. Sermon means what? I'm standing here in front of you, speaking. This is called sermon. It is sermon. Why? Because you are ready to listen to me. If you don't want to listen to me, how can I stand up to speak, and how it can be called a sermon? Imam Ali alayhi salam had the opportunity to speak on the podium, on the pulpit, and address people and give sermons. So he has very good collection of sermons that we have today. It is, of course, this book, Nahjul Balagha, which is called Peak of Eloquence. It is translated in English also, Peak of Eloquence. This is compiled by a scholar called Sayyid Radi. So this is not the collection, the whole collection of all khutbahs. There's few khutbahs of Imam Ali, not all of them, very few of them. But still you see those few sermons and few letters and few sayings are so great that you can put them next to Quran. A book after Quran is Nahjul Balagha, in eloquence, in its theme, in its message, in everything. So great book, amazing book, Nahjul Balagha. Imam Hassan, he didn't have much opportunity to talk people. Imam Hussein also, he did not have much opportunity to deliver sermons. No Imam had the opportunity to deliver sermon in a gathering. People should gather and listen to him as a leader. No. That's why we have a hadith of A'imma. We don't have sermons, much sermons, except few. We don't have khutbahs of A'imma. Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Hassan, we have very few of them. Imam Hussein has few khutbahs, short khutbahs. So now in such a situation when nobody is ready to listen, how can a preacher preach? Preacher will preach when he is able to deliver his message to somebody, and somebody is, at least one person, is ready to hear. Imam Sajjad took the office in such a situation when there was no audience. No one to listen to him. Not even hadith. Hadith is saying. We have sayings of so many A'imma. There were no people to even listen to him if he want to tell them the hadith of his grandfather. He said, look, my grandfather said this and this and this. Nobody is listening. Everybody is in so much worldly benefits that nobody has time to listen to the truth. Corrupt society, very corrupt. The most corrupt society in the whole history, in the time of Yazid. So what strategy he adopted? Look, subhanallah. And then he really changed the society. And he saved Islam with his amazing strategy. So a person who has no chance to talk to people, who has no chance to deliver sermons, who has no opportunity to even mention a hadith of Rasulullah, he has no opportunity to gather students and teach them directly. No opportunity. You know what? He has a book of knowledge which is next to Nahjul Balagha. He has so great book. Amazingly, in such a situation, how can someone be able to give this kind of material, which is treasure of knowledge and understanding and faith and everything you find in that book, which is called Sahifa Sajjadiyah or Sahifa Kamila. Amazing book. You will find history in there. You will find fiqh, Islamic laws in there. You will find issues about your faith, to strengthen your faith there. You find every subject, even science, today's scientific, facts, you will find them in this book. So what was he doing? Was he sitting and writing that book? No, he didn't even have that opportunity. Then what? When he didn't have audience, look his strategy, subhanallah. When he didn't have audience from people to talk to them, he changed the address. He changed the address. He started addressing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instead of people. And by addressing Allah, he was giving the message through his supplications. He's saying, Ya Allah. He's saying, Ya Allah, but giving message to people. And this is what Nahjul Balagha is. And this is what, Risalatul Huquq is, which we are discussing for a few years. And we did not finish yet. Amazing. So let me finish. The time is over. I mentioned 3 books. 3 books. Quran, Nahjul Balagha, and Sahifa Sajjadiyah. Quran is Allah's word. Nahjul Balagha are collection of sermons and sayings of Imam Ali. And Sahifa Sajjadiyah is collection of supplications and prayers of Imam Sajjad, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
How to introduce in these 3 books in just 1 minute today now, because I have just 1 minute left. How can I introduce in 1 minute? So I can say this way. I can put it this way. Relationship between creator and creature. God, Allah, and people. There is a relationship between these two. In these 2 relationships, there is only 3 ways of communication. Only 3 possibilities of communication. Either Allah talks to people, or people talk to people, or people talk to Allah. When Allah talks to people, it is Quran. When people talk to people, it is Nahjul Balagha. And when people talk to Allah, it is Sahifa Sajjadiyah. These are 3 books. These are 3 beautiful books. This is how the communication is. Quran, Allah is talking to us. Nahjul Balagha, a human being is talking to human being. Sahifa Sajjadiyah, a human being is talking to Allah. And this way we have these 3 great books, which are really everything for us. And anybody who has these 3 books, he has everything in his life here and hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us opportunity to benefit from all these 3 books, to read them, to understand them, to practice them, and to preach them. بحق محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.